I'm Chris from Redmen TV. Do us a favour, do yourself a favour, and subscribe to the Liverpool Connection podcast. Do it. Do it now.
Hi everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Liverpool Connection podcast. This is the Story Pod. I am Daz, if you don't know already. Just a quick, if you haven't checked out our 3-year anniversary podcast with the legend Jan Molby, please do. He's an absolute class of a gentleman, and it was a good hour and something spent with him. One of my heroes from one of the best Liverpool sides I've ever witnessed. But please like and subscribe, all that good stuff. But today, I've got a special guest. I've actually, it's been a while. We've been going back and forth to try and get him on, and I'm really happy that he's on. It's Leo from LiverpoolGoals. It's just crazy how many Instagram followers he has. 1.1 million. Yes, 1.1 million. That's insane. We'll get into that. Leo, welcome to the show, mate.
Yes, thank you for having me on. And I gotta say, it's an honor knowing all the guests you've had on as well. I the one I most recently listened to was the Phil Thompson episode that you did, the podcast, and I loved it because he's a character that I didn't know so well. Obviously, I didn't get to watch those sides, and just how humble, and the Jan Molby one too, but just how humble these legends are. And when you ask them about their past, especially like the beginning of their careers, you see them talk, and it's just like they can go back to almost like that their childlike selves, where with Phil Thompson, when you asked him, when he was 17 and he got signed by Bill Shankly, it's like the way he talks about it, it's like this kid who dreamt, and yeah, it's true, he came from there, but just like I love hearing that, where even when they've achieved everything, they never forget those moments, and I think that's beautiful.
You see the sparkle in their eyes.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just crazy to me that I've been blessed to chat with these fellas, and I looked up to all of them when I was a kid, and again, I'll always say, like, if this podcast stopped tomorrow, I'd be well happy with who I've had on. And it's not just ex-players though. It's people like yourself. Like, everyone has a Liverpool story, and everybody's Liverpool story is different.
Yeah.
So I've always said like, this podcast is good because not only is it audio, it's video.
100%.
So later on down the road, you can show your kids, grandkids, again, everyone has a Liverpool story, and you're on the pod today. This is your Liverpool story, so let's get into this, because you're a lot younger than me. I can tell you've got no grey in your hair or nothing, so you must be.
Not yet.
How old are you, by the way, Leo?
I'm 23.
See, you bastard.
23. Yeah, except you got to see Jan Molby play. You got to see.
I did.
Arguably the greatest Liverpool. I mean, so there's always positives too.
So I know you're French. Are you Parisian?
I was born in Paris, but I kind of, like, when I was quite young, so 5 years old, that's when I moved to Iceland. So because my mother is Icelandic. And so I didn't really live here very long, so I wouldn't really say that. I'd say Iceland was more, shaped me in a stronger way, especially with Liverpool, because that's where I became a Liverpool fan. But half French and half Icelandic in terms of nationalities.
Yeah, I've noticed there is a big Icelandic Liverpool supporters, because I know LFC history.
Yeah, exactly.
Is
founded by two Icelanders. Yeah.
So,
yeah,
for growing up in Iceland, I mean, it must have been crazy. Like, I mean, only 5, though, you probably don't know much of living in Paris.
Yeah,
in early years.
Yeah.
How was your mom or your dad like into football?
No, that's the crazy thing. Like my family is really like the furthest thing you could ever imagine for football fans. Like they have never watched. They have never watched. They will never be interested in watching a game of like even the World Cup. I have to force them. Like it's that intense. But that's what I really loved is that like it got to really be my thing and something that felt special in terms of meeting people outside of my family and my community. And we talked a little bit about it before, but just what I absolutely loved about Liverpool is I grew up also after I moved to the US, and I always kind of felt like an outsider because I didn't really know what I was. And yet Liverpool, Liverpool Football Club always felt like, you know, it felt like I had an instant connection with someone if we had that in common. And especially as a kid, now I'm more confident about my identity. But growing up and especially as a teenager, it was so difficult because I didn't really know what I was and I didn't know what to attach myself to. And football was so important. I watched and played, but it just became this place of community, this place of connection that I really needed. And in Iceland, like football is massive. It's really like you either support Liverpool or Manchester United. And you'll be happy to hear that my best friend in Iceland, he was a massive United supporter. And for a whole year, he tried to convince me to be a United fan. And that just shows how much Liverpool's meant to be. I wasn't interested in football, right? I was like 5'6". He tried to get me to love United, and I never cared. Like I never became a football fan. And then one day, another friend of mine who wasn't my best friend invited me to his house after school, and he put on a cassette tape of some of Stevie's like early years, because obviously he was still young that time. Like it was like the 2001 treble winning season, at the beginning of Stevie and that team. And I remember watching the passion, and I was like, this is it. And then he was so annoyed because imagine for a whole year he tried to convince me to support United, and I just spent an hour watching this tape. And after that, I was obsessed with Liverpool. And that's the really interesting thing about Liverpool. And I think why there's so many international fans. It's like there's this passion that goes way beyond, I think other football clubs. And I think it's something we can all feel because it's almost like a childlike love. And I just remember, like, since that day, it's been a little too intense, the love, but it's been amazing because, it's this ability to connect. And that's why I love the name of your podcast as well and your channel, because I think that's what's so special about Liverpool. It's all the connections, and, no matter what you look like, where you come from, what languages you speak, you have that bond, and
Well,
and
I would say it's a good job that the video cassette wasn't of like Bruno Shearus.
Yeah, exactly.
You wouldn't have been a Liverpool supporter.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Good job he had Stevie G, because so is it fair to say Stevie G is your favourite then?
Yeah. I mean, it's really like, and especially, more and more, like at that time, money didn't play as big of a role, but that's something you talk about with Phil Thompson as well that I thought was so interesting, how much like since Sky came in and just how football has changed in the past 30 years or so. Like Stevie again feels, like a Totti, like these iconic legends who stuck. And I know there was a moment he thought about leaving, maybe to go to Chelsea or something, but I think deep down he was never going to leave. And again, that feels so special because it's like this talent that could have played anywhere in the world decided to struggle. Like so many of those teams were quite, couldn't compete for the top titles. And yet time and time again, he got us to these finals and he showed up in all the big occasions. And it's like, football is such a team sport, and somehow he was able to have this impact that just like it's just so inspirational, and
well, we don't have many players that you can say Cara and Steve were the only ones that really spent their entire careers at Liverpool. I don't think you'll see that again.
Trent, I think Trent.
Yeah, maybe Trent, but
he's up.
We live in a different world now from
back
then. So players, if the team's not doing good or their heads get turned, they'll go someplace else. But I mean, watching Stevie's just on and off the pitch, he's just an incredible human being, you know. But so many times he put Liverpool on his shoulders and said, "We'll get through this." You know, the Napoli one, where we just look dead and buried, and he's like,
Olympiacos.
yeah. I mean, that's probably the most iconic, and the FA Cup final one is second
against West Ham. The anniversary actually was, I think, 2 days ago or a day ago.
Oh.
But but you know what, I'm surprised, and that's why I'd love to hear who your favorite is. But when I go to the city, I just love asking older Liverpool fans or cab drivers, just anyone that I see, who they think the greatest player in our history is. And I did a tour of the museum on Wednesday, and the guy who obviously he saw us beat Saint-Etienne in 70s, I think it was 77. Like, he's been a fan since he was born, and he said, like, there's no shadow of a doubt that Kenny Dalglish is the greatest player to have ever played for Liverpool. And I do hear that quite a lot from Liverpool fans that have watched more than just my generation. So would you say the same?
I would say
in terms of what you've heard from also fellow fans.
Yeah, I mean, my hero growing up was Kevin Keegan. My first match was when I was 6, but then the bastard left when I was 7, and I was not very happy. You know, he was my poster boy. And then later it was Barnesy. You know, just because of his incredible footwork and everything, I'd never seen anything like it. But Kenny, I would say is the best Liverpool player that has ever been so far. Love Stevie. I absolutely adore Stevie, but Kenny's just because he's also managed the club. I think that plays a massive part as well, and he's just an ambassador for Liverpool Football Club. But I think if you talk to a lot of the older generation, they'll tell you, Kenny. I mean, number one. I mean, just incredible.
Yeah, Barnesy as well. I've met when I like the last time I went to Anfield, and he's just the nicest guy. And also, I told him this because I'm not sure he pays attention to all the media stuff, and I watch like any interview that comes out, because for Liverpool Goals, I keep track of everything. And Kara was asked who the best trainer in his career was, and I have to say I was he said I was surprised to hear him say Barnesy, because he got to see him in the latter stages of his career, like in the 90s when he wasn't in his prime, older, he was playing that midfield position. But he says he was the best trainer he's ever seen, and that I love hearing that too, because obviously he's someone that had so much skill and ability. So maybe you'd think in training they don't need to do as much, but no, like, he's special.
Well, it's crazy, you bring that up, and with talking to Jan Molby as well. Just the training back then was so different. I mean, you would see players have a cigarette, you would see players have a bevy.
They would drink,
and Molby said the same thing. He was asked, like, do I need to warm up for the match?
Yeah, I remember.
Around like, no, just get on the pitch and do your thing. And he's like, it was so different because Ajax, obviously, they warm up, 20, 30 minutes before the match. And back then they were like, nah, you just pull your socks up, get your boots on, and get on that pitch. So I think, well, obviously the training's so much different now. You have so many different things you have to do before the match, then after the match. Then, if you need a sports psychologist, you go see them. If you need the cryogenics, ice bath, you get frozen in time till the next game. It's just how times have changed from like the 70s and 80s to now. But I mean, I've heard a lot of people talk about Barnesy and just be like, he was one of the hardest trainers, like, in training. And then even his latter years, you could tell he put on a little bit of weight, but he's still around that. I mean,
It's
I
mad.
couldn't get around that football pitch like he did. You know,
It's mad.
it's just nuts. But you know,
And
going
and another insight, just quick, that because I asked Jose as well, who played for Liverpool during, when there was a lot of talent, and he said Suarez was the best trainer, and not necessarily because he was like obsessed with doing everything right. He's just like, what you see on the football pitch is exactly how he is in training, where he's just like non-stop running, non-stop pressing, like impossible, like just like, that desire that he always had when he played for Liverpool. Like he says in training it was no different, and that's why I think like it was like nobody wanted to face him in training, because he was just like beast,
well,
as
he's a
you
street
remember.
fighter. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
coming from Uruguay, you you play on the streets and you fight on the streets, and that's what he was. He was a fighter. You know, he had his issues, obviously the biting, and then the whole
yeah.
racist type thing. But to watch him on the
Oh,
pitch, I've never seen a player play like he has. Like one of my favorite goals is probably the Newcastle goal.
oh my! And you know who assisted him that game?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Jose.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
yeah. When he just brought it down and then did that little gimmick.
genius. Oh,
Like it's just
that's
well,
it's
well,
also it's also my favorite. It's funny you say that, because he scored obviously all those crazy goals against Norwich, but that goal, what I love so much about it is he makes it look so easy, but to be able to do all those things within 2 second period of controlling it, being aware of the keeper, putting it around, like all of that in a space of 2 seconds, like it's genius. Like
well, remember the
it's
goal he scored against Norwich, and it was near the halfway line.
the volley one.
I think so. It was
We're not a direct
a,
volley, but like it
uh,
had bounced once and then you hit it in the air.
yeah.
Yeah.
Gerrard was furious with him right before, and Gerrard couldn't believe that Suarez was going to shoot from there. And you could see, if you go back and you'll see video of it, you'll see Gerrard about to
His
like
reaction.
at him,
Oh my
and it
god.
goes in, and Gerrard just laughs. Like, all right, sound.
Oh,
But yeah, Suarez was just unplayable at times, and we've had so many iconic players. I mean, Torres in his prime was unplayable as well. But let's get back to
yeah, yeah.
Iceland. So
Yes.
your mate has the videotape.
Yeah.
You're like, this is the team for me.
Yeah.
So in Iceland back then, was it regularly on the telly?
No, honestly, that's the thing. It was really difficult to get it on the telly there. So and I don't even think we had a television at home. So I basically would mainly be on YouTube, what I could find on YouTube, because it was the very, very beginning. Or some of it would be televised, and then I would go to that friend's house. But otherwise, like I really would collect match attacks. Like I was obsessed with them, and I was obsessed with them. And like I would actually sell. I would have like stands on the street to sell like my things I didn't use anymore, like clothes or anything like that. And I would always save up to buy those match attack cards. It was just like I would put all my savings always into those cards and just collect as many Liverpool ones as possible. But it's true, it was difficult at that time because we didn't have a TV at home for that. So
You still have the cards?
yeah, I still have the cards. But honestly, the only one I wanted, there was this Stevie, and this is Stevie in his prime. It was like 2006, 2007, and he had one that was like 101 attack, 101 defense. And for the whole year, I just tried to get that card. And I remember I tried for like 8 months, and that you don't want to know how many packs I opened. And then I just gave up. I was like, you know what? There's no point. And I was like sad for like 2 weeks. And my mom bought me 2 packs. And I'm not kidding you. I hadn't done it for 2 weeks. I was like depressed. And then she brings me these 2 packs, and I open the first one, and it's that Stevie, which is super rare. And like I go to school, and you don't understand how much of a superstar I am at school. It's like everybody's like, Leo, I'll give you my whole collection for that Stevie, because it was like I think it's like a really rare one. but I just remember like how ecstatic I was, and I was just like, it doesn't get better than this. Oh,
Nah, I mean, I really, really hope you still have it.
I don't think so.
Oh,
It's
mate.
terrible with the amount of moving I've done. But I'm hopefully it's somewhere.
So take me to like, was it Iceland and then New York City?
Yeah, yeah,
So, you know, New York City, there's a lot more televisions there, obviously.
exactly,
Um,
exactly. That's
and
one.
did you meet up with fellow Liverpool supporters?
So what was tough is I was 10 when I moved there, so I was still quite young, and like I didn't really go to the pub at 10 because again I couldn't really go. Yeah, I couldn't really go. Like I could again, my family they didn't want to hear about Liverpool. They were so tired of me like talking about Liverpool that what but there we had a television, so I would watch it, and that's really when I'd say I'd started the Instagram when I was around 12. So it was really the beginning of it. And I remember it was just that feeling of wanting to connect with other Reds and from around the world, because again, because I had lived in those three countries that are very different, culturally, language, everything, that I already kind of had that global perspective. And I was like, again, Liverpool's so special because I can just talk to someone from Brazil and they're gonna have that same passion. I can talk to someone, just from all over. And so I started the Instagram when I was 12, really. And for me, that was the way I got to really connect. But again, that's when I started to watch every single game, once we had that television.
Wow, I did not know you started that at 12. So,
Yeah.
was it just yours, or when did you
Yeah.
start Liverpool goals?
Yeah, no, I started there was this other fan page called Liverpool FC fan page that I started originally, and that I started by myself. And yeah, it was just like wanting to connect, and it was lucky because it was at the very beginning of Instagram, and I prefer pictures to text. So like I'm more of a visual person, so I remember when it came about I was like, damn, this is definitely something that I like. And so I just got started, and yeah, it's just more and more connections since then. It's been amazing.
Yeah, that's mental. How I mean, see that's the difference I think between you and me, because in the 70s, 80s, we didn't have YouTube, we didn't have
Yeah.
Instagram, we didn't really have phones unless you want those big gigantic looking things.
Yeah, exactly.
So it was just word of mouth. Uh,
Yeah.
that's one of the great things now about social media is we can all connect as Liverpool fans, like you were saying.
Yeah.
And with your pictures, you can send in a picture of you at the pub, or you at the
Yeah.
match, or
Yeah.
you just wearing the new Liverpool top. It's great to see, and people first see with their eyes, obviously.
Yeah.
I
Exactly.
and then hear second, and then read
Yeah.
probably third. So the visual
Yeah.
part is a main thing. But yeah, wow.
Exactly.
So you've been actually on Instagram for
Yeah. For far too
11,
long.
11 years.
Far too long.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah. And
men-
and what's crazy is like genuinely there's not been a day that I haven't posted something in all that time. Or no, there's been some times where I took a little bit of time off, but like just like there just isn't a day where really I stopped. And I can tell you like the passion is not any less than it was when I started. Like genuinely, like I just get excited every day to just share that passion, because again, no one in my circles, like for some reason I also have a lot of I mean a lot of my friends don't really like football, and I kind of like that because it's like it's great to have that passion, but I also like to think about other things, and so I find it so nice to be able to connect in that way, but also have a life outside of the football, which
so what do you remember what your first Instagram picture was? Your post?
it's
Kind
that
of a good
that's
question.
yeah, that's a good question, but I gotta say that's tough. It's tough, but I mean, it must have been Stevie, I'm sure. No, knowing my 12-year-old self, I was probably like, guys, I love Stevie. Hit like and comment if you like Stevie. That was probably what it was.
Well, do you still find it weird though? Like followers. You know,
Hmm.
I mean, at 12, like by the end of the year, like, did you have a couple of hundred, or did it just take off pretty quickly for you?
Oh yeah, I mean it took off actually pretty quick because again it was the beginning of Instagram and it was just a blessing that it was the beginning and there's obviously a lot of Liverpool fans around the world and because it was really the only one apart from this other one called YNWA Graham, which you'll know, I'm sure. So since it was like that, I think within the first year it was like 5,000 or 10,000 or something. But
You must be
yeah.
rubbing your hands going, ah. I mean, that's a lot for a 12-year-old to be like, oh man, 5,000 followers. That's good.
Yeah. I mean, the good thing for sure is that it wasn't like I never put my face on the account back then, and like thank God because like I see some young people like even before the age of 18 who start to put their face on social media and stuff, and just like there's always hate comments and not so nice things. And what was nice with that is I always stayed anonymous, like through those early years, and so like all I wanted to spread was positivity because I'm someone where even this season, like you asked me, we're gonna get top four. Like I'm gonna tell you, I believe because for me, it's like the beautiful thing about sport and football and Liverpool. It's like if you're not optimistic, if you're not positive, what's the point? Like to me, that's the special thing about sport. It's like this belief, this thing that's greater than maybe sometimes your rational self, and you let yourself go. So I was just trying to spread positivity, and the nice thing is often that would come back, and but I do think if I had put my face out there, people are brutal, so they would just attack and all that stuff.
It's crazy to think because I've got four girls, and I just find it weird when a lot of families use their children like for YouTube and Instagram just to get followers, and I think that's wrong. And then there's a very good side to social media, and there's a very bad side where you get the bullying, just get people
100%.
very negative and very too like out there, And I couldn't imagine, your 12-year-old self. You put a picture up and you get these horrible people just going, why'd you put your picture up? You're a horrible looking kid. You support Liverpool as well, so you should do whatever. So I mean, you've kept with it, so you got to be proud of yourself where you are now. I mean, that's just insane to me. I keep saying 1.1 million. I mean, that's a small island.
It's crazy.
That's crazy. Like Iceland. Everyone in Iceland.
No, way more. In Iceland, there's 375,000 people.
That's it.
So it's like it's very small. So no, it's completely crazy. But like I said, I just like enjoyed so much. And what's been so nice, it was around like 4 years ago, because for the first 6 or 7 years, I was always doing it alone. And that was kind of tough because sometimes, like I didn't get to share the part of creating. And it's true, sometimes I felt kind of burnt out because I was doing school and other things, and I just always felt like I needed to stay on top of it. But when I had others join and help, like with admin and creating content, it just made it so much more fun too, because it's like I get to share that with others who have this massive passion. And again, what I was saying before about connections, they're all from different countries, and I chose that on purpose because I think that's the beautiful thing. That, like, I mean, the first admin was from India, and I can't tell you like how passionate he is. Like the amount of times he's never, like, he's in law school, so imagine the work he's doing right now. He has never complained about 3 a.m. It's always at 2-3 a.m. the later kickoffs. Never has he been like, Leo, I can't do it. Like he just can't miss a game, and it's just like that. Those are the moments where I always remember like this club is special.
Well, you gotta think, I think a lot of people really don't really grasp sometimes. You've got, people that live in New Zealand, Australia, India. They get up in the middle of the night to watch games, and some of the pubs will open at 4 o'clock in the morning. Even in the West Coast, LA and San Fran, they're at the pub at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. we here in Texas it's 6 a.m. You know, so you got to be pretty hardcore to do that, and I just think it's, you know, when people start, you know, kind of throwing some stuff at the day trippers, I get annoyed with it, because most of them have probably saved up all their money, you know, for that year, to come over and watch Liverpool Football Club. You know, are they as enthusiastic as some of the Scousers in the Cop? Maybe not. You know, do they get their phones out a bit too much? Maybe they do.
Yeah.
This might be the last time that they're at Anfield. But you've got to understand, they've also been getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning, you know, for God knows how many years. So my hats are off to them. I still don't understand half and half scarves. I'll never understand that. I think they should be made illegal. Nobody should ever have a half and half scarf. And unless it was, you know, Liverpool Celtic, I understood that one.
Or Liverpool Dortmund.
Yeah.
Liverpool Dortmund. That's a nice one.
The rest of them should be all burned and thrown in. But, you know, it's just great to, you know, when you say about 4 years ago, like, are you doing this full time now?
So not full time, because it's not completely full time, but also just because I do love doing other things, you know, like my older sister actually owns a hotel in Iceland. That's what she does, and one of my favorite things is to still do that work, but just in Iceland. And I usually do the bar reception at the hotel, and I love that because I get to meet people from all over the world. And actually, there's been some Liverpool fans, and that's been amazing. Like, there's been guests from Iceland, I mean from Liverpool, and there's been Liverpool fans. So I do love having other jobs, especially ones that are physical in real life, because it's true that the thing that's a little bit tough, even though now it's possible more and more, but because it is digital, you of course miss that you know, you can't replace that real life interaction, you know. So yeah,
I know Steve McManaman went to Iceland.
No, and you know who I met recently actually was Patrick Berger.
Yes, that's right.
I
know the lady that owns Hotel Tia, Ranhold.
Oh yeah.
She brought them to Iceland.
Oh yeah, but he was literally telling me how he's like, his passion after football, now that he's retired, is fishing. That's like his thing, and so he went on a salmon fishing trip in Iceland and really loved it. So
nice. Yeah, it's so good to kind of hear what these ex-footballers like to do now. And you would think, like, you know, they want to go expensive, crazy stuff, you know, but they're not. They're just like, I like my fishing, I like bird watching, not women birds, but they like, you know, birds that have two wings. Watching that, and you're just like,
the simplest things.
Bless. You know, is that I can't imagine, you know, day-to-day life as a footballer is a little bit like being in the army as well. You get told when you need to get up, what you need to eat. You know, you've got this rhythm, and I think that's why a lot of these former players actually go into commentating as well, like Carragher, Stevie Warnock. I think even Gerrard might do it. You know, if nothing comes, you know, along that he thinks he can manage, I think he'll go into it. But because they still want to be a part of the game. And then some others.
I mean, look at Kara. Kara, I think his football knowledge is mad. Like the history, everything. He just, like, I know he's, for some reason seems to get a lot of hate in punditry, but because he has strong opinions. But I really like him, and that show you have in the US, I'm so jealous. CBS Sports with Thierry Henry and Micah Richards. I love it.
It's crazy. Yesterday, they had, or was it last week? Maldini was on.
I saw that. Yeah.
But did you see Thierry's?
Oh my God, the respect, just how highly he spoke of Maldini, I'm just like, and you know, just to tell a quick story because it's such a good story and it happened in New York.
Mhm.
And as a kid, like my favorite player outside of Liverpool was Thierry Henry, and I know that might sound crazy because he played for Arsenal and he scored a lot of goals against Liverpool, but you know, I'm half French and I just love the way he played on the pitch. Like you have to say he was a beautiful football, you know, and but so if you remember, he played for Red Bulls. He came over to play in the MLS, and Pier 40 was like the place as a kid. It's like this training ground in New York. That's when I played for a club team there, and they decided to have the MLS All Star training there because it was like available that day before the big game. And so there was David Beckham, Thierry Henry, all of the All Stars. And I'm like this, you know, a little kid. I'm so excited. I have my ball, and we're like 100 kids. And David Beckham comes out, and I'm like, "Can you sign my ball? Can you sign my ball?" And David Beckham draws a line on the ball like this, and he says, "I don't have time for you kids." And he walks to the bus, and I'm crying. And like, imagine, no, but imagine he even took the time to draw a line on the ball. And it's like, why can't you just do a signature, you know? And I understand there were a lot of kids, but like for him, this is like retirement. He might as well be nice. Like they're in the MLS, you know?
That's his United roots right there.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. But so Thierry Henry saw what happened because he was behind him, and it's as they were leaving, you know, the training. And I'm like crying and crying, and he sees me, and he's like, he apologizes, and he's like, "I'm so sorry that happened. Like it's terrible. Like I don't understand how he could do something like this." And like immediately I made up, like the crying stopped because I'm like, okay, this is Chile. This is actually who I care about too. And he ends up saying, like, to make it up to you guys, I'm gonna sign every single one of your balls and make him wait on the bus so that he can just feel bad basically about what he did. And he ends up talking to me like for like 3 4 minutes because I tell him I'm French, and he's just like the nicest guy. And again, for him, it's like when he's signing, it's like a like genuine care. It's like, yes, he might have achieved all these things, but he knows how much it means to the kids. And he's like, this is the most important thing right now. You know, he's not one of, like, you can really tell he can set his ego aside. And he's like, I'm gonna make these kids' days right now. This is what I'm here for, you know. And he's not like on another planet or whatever. And I just remember as a kid, like I was just like, wow, you know, like it's so nice to see that, you know.
Thierry's just class. I mean, we all have, you know, our little apart from Liverpool
Yeah,
player, you
yeah.
know, Thierry Henry
Who
and
was your favorite, like non-Liverpool?
Bergkamp.
Oh yeah.
Just oozed class. He's
Oh
another one that
man.
just, you know, he didn't let the fame get to him. He was just silky smooth and just nonchalant about things. You know, on the pitch, just score a goal out of nothing. You know, and also
Unbelievable.
create for Thierry
Yeah.
as well. But
No.
just on and off, just class. You know, and in the back of your head, you're always like, God, I wish he played for them.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know? But that, you know, and again, just to see the likes of Cara, you know, Thierry Henry. I wouldn't even say Mika Richards because, come on, he wasn't that great
No.
compared to Cara and to Thierry.
Yeah. But
But
that's what makes for good banter. It's like he knows like he wasn't a great player, and so he
yeah,
doesn't take himself too serious, you know?
he's like the to me the Joker in the
Yeah.
pack. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
they just look at him for as they say shits and giggles. But yeah, I mean the respect that they they showed for Maldini is,
Oh,
and Maldini's another one I wish could have played for Liverpool. You know, he was a one club man, just absolutely, you know, class for me. So
I agree.
let's get to probably the biggest thing for you is for, you know, your first time at Anfield, because
Yeah.
it doesn't matter to me how many times I've gone. I
Mm.
still get, you know, the butterflies. I still get the smells in the air.
Yeah.
Still, you know, walking up to that great stadium.
Yeah.
You still feel it doesn't matter if you've gone once or 1,000 times. You
Yeah.
still just look up and you just take it all in. So, tell us about your first time and came about.
Yeah. So like I had always told my parents, like, my dream one day is that you bring me, and I don't care when it happens, but just like, you know, like it would be obviously that's like the thing I wanted most in life, and from the States it is pretty far. Like it's not a nothing journey, especially when they don't care about Liverpool, but they know how much it means to me. And eventually it was like a birthday present that I got to go in 2014. It was against Tottenham, and it was that season too that we were competing for the title, so it was a special season, the 2013 2014. And I remember like we arrived at Manchester airport, and this is how buzzed I was. We got out and I was like already wearing my Liverpool shirt, and we got told no by 3 cab drivers coming out because I was in my Liverpool top. Imagine I'm a little kid, and I love that because I was like, you see, like that's how much football means, where it's like they set aside any type of rationality and they're like, oh, you're wearing Liverpool in Manchester now, we're not taking you. And genuinely, it took the 4th driver for us to be able to get it. And I was like, I was so buzzing by then because I was like, wow, like they have, I could really feel that passion, and just it was like it was like living your childhood dream, because I had seen it on TV for so long, and also, for Stevie to have been there, so to have gone to see my childhood hero also still like play, and he did play really well that season. I think he was I forget how many assists he got, but he did really well. And we beat Tottenham 4-0. Suarez scored. Suarez that season, probably the best individual season at least I've ever watched, and it just, I just remember like not believing what I was seeing, because I had just like visualized it for so long that when I was there, it felt like an out of body sensation, and yeah, I'll always remember it. I'll always remember it. And then I also remember after having been, the experience of watching it on TV was also different, because when you've watched for like Liverpool only on TV, if it like your brain works differently. At least when I got back, I was just like, whoa, like I think you realize much more when you see Liverpool live, how all the little details matter, because you see like the energy in the crowd, for example, because I was lucky enough to go to Liverpool Arsenal this season. It's like there's all these tactics, there's, especially nowadays, there's so many details, fitness, all these things. It's like when you were at Anfield, like that Trent and Granit Xhaka moment changed everything. Like genuine, and the energy at Anfield when it switches, it changes everything, and it's unbelievable when you're there and you see that, because on the TV you don't quite feel it, but it just shows how important the fans are, because they can turn a game around. And I'm just surprised that, and that's why I think Klopp has also done so well. He understands that the fans are essential, and in his first press conference, like it was about the fans. He's like, I want them to believe again. I want us to believe again. And he knew if Liverpool fans had that belief in them, then it starts with them, and then the players can then believe, yes, we can do it, and I think even when we lost those finals, like he always kept that mentality of like, if you believe, special things can happen. And I mean, look at how this journey has been under Klopp. It's been so special.
So obviously it was your dream to go to Anfield. It must have been your parents' nightmare.
Yeah, exactly.
Anfield as well. So exactly. they were both in the States.
No, I just went with my dad. But no, obviously it wasn't their nightmare. Like, like any, as a parent now, that like just like, oh, you just want your kids to be happy, and they saw how much I love Liverpool, and even if they couldn't understand a thing, like they saw how emotional I was and excited, and I bet my dad loved that, and we've been together since.
Oh, so your dad comes as well?
Well, we've been one other time, and there was actually a night where Mo Salah scored 4 goals at Anfield. Imagine when we beat Watford 5-0. Remember that day? Unbelievable.
I mean that's the great thing of having kids as well. Just seeing the joy on their face.
Yeah.
Like my dad can't stand football. He's a
Really?
rugby.
Okay.
As he says, a real man sport.
Yeah.
Cry or roll around on the floor. So growing up, it was kind of the same thing as well.
Mm,
He just it was my granddad that took me to the matches. So
mm,
he loved Liverpool, and it showed. And it's just an experience. I hope everyone that listens to
yeah.
this and follows Leo as well gets a chance to go to Anfield at least once
Absolutely.
in their lifetime, because
Absolutely.
it really is like you just you know now that you're not 10, you can go down the pub first
Yeah.
and have a few pints, and then soak it all in, and then just the chatter around you is just great.
Yeah.
Just hear everyone talking about the game, and what their predictions are and who they think's going to start and stuff.
Yeah.
And then you hear the arguments. Nah, he's not going to start. He's shite. There's some blah blah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just funny to hear. But how many
Yeah.
times have you been to Anfield now?
I've been really blessed now, where it's like I've been more than 20 times, you know. And given that I've never lived in the UK, I feel like it's amazing.
Yeah, they need to give you a
It's
season ticket for that.
yeah,
Good luck with that,
yeah.
because you were just there, weren't you?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was there but that wasn't for, I mean, it was on Wednesday, and
Mhm.
it was this like event where we got to play at Anfield, that was a whole different thing. It was
Yeah, that's another
completely,
thing I wanted to ask you about too. I mean, you're on the hallowed turf of Anfield. I'm like, you lucky
it
bastards.
was completely, no, that was, and the crazy thing is I learned about it 2 days before, because it's this company that I work with called Sorare, who are official partners of Liverpool, and they had this campaign called Play on the Pitch, which is for all their like most valuable members in the community. And 2 days before, they had someone that couldn't make it, and they were like, Leo, if you can make it, like you could play at Anfield. And I'm like, you're kidding, like this is a joke. And I went on the speed train straight to Anfield. But the mad thing too is, imagine the managers of the two teams were God, Robbie Fowler,
Yeah.
and Emil Heskey. So our manager was at Heskey that day. But like that actually probably was the craziest Liverpool experience, because being on the pitch, running down that pitch, and seeing all the seats around you, like, and you soak that in, and you tell yourself, whoa, like what Anfield is full, when you're hearing "You'll Never Walk Alone," like that adrenaline, I just can't imagine as a player having experienced that, and then the rest of your life, because those are highs.
Mhm. Well, you're running on a pitch that players like Kenny, Stevie Highway, Roger Hunt have all ran on that pitch and played. I mean, you've got to do probably every boy and girl's dream,
It's completely crazy.
Yeah.
It's
And,
completely
and,
crazy.
and some, meet God, which, he's another one, that was just a character, but like, boy, could he score,
Oh my.
absolutely nothing. And, I love what these lads do for the community as well. I'm very, big on the charities and community.
Yeah.
They stick with Liverpool.
Mm.
Whether it be like they do like the Fowler Academy, Stevie
Yeah.
has his
Yeah.
academy as well,
Yeah.
the LFC Foundation,
Yeah.
the food banks.
Yeah.
It That was weird.
Yeah.
And I love listening to that voice.
Yeah.
She
Those
tells me
beautiful
what to do.
voice. Yeah.
But they just do so much.
Yeah.
Same with Phil Thompson as well. And Jan Molby. That's why they are legends. That's why you see, the murals going up, which I love. I mean, the more murals, the better for me.
It's amazing. And I have a funny mural story from when I was there on Wednesday, because there was this Stevie mural I hadn't seen, and I go over and I'm looking at it, and this guy who's probably, I would say, like 70 years old comes out of his home, which is facing the Stevie mural, and he looks at me and he says, this mural is hell for me. And I'm like, what do you mean? And he's like, I'm an Evertonian. And they put up this mural, and every single morning I wake up and I have to look at Stevie. And he's like, imagine my life. And he's just like, it's been miserable since that day. And I'm like, but come on, Stevie's special. And I'm like trying to convince him that Stevie's special, and he's like, nope, I'm not hearing it. And but he ended up,
that's a nightmare for him.
Yeah.
Oh my
But again,
God.
what I love about the city of Liverpool, like I was wearing a Liverpool top. I'm like, like joking with him, and yet he's just joking too. And he even like ended up asking if I wanted to, like, if he could take the picture of me in front of the mural, record me in front of the mural, just like the nicest people, and that's what I love about Liverpool. It's like, even though I understand I have this American accent, like you'd think there's a lot of connotations that come with that. Everywhere I go in Liverpool, I get treated, and I think for like any foreigners that have come to Liverpool too, you don't feel like you're getting treated differently. And that's the most beautiful thing, because, that's what I was most afraid of, because on social media, I used to get messages when I said where I came from, and they're like, oh, you're not a proper Red. Oh, you don't actually love Liverpool. Oh, you don't know what it means to love Liverpool. And I've always said, yeah, it's true. I don't know. I'll never know the extent of what it's like when your dad, your granddad, like having grown up in the streets. And I always respect that. And I say, I'm not the same supporter as a Scouser whose whole family, live, breathe, died Liverpool. That's the reality. But it just means I love Liverpool in a different way, and when I come to the city, I always feel like there's that respect, and it's just like, it's the most beautiful thing, because
Scousers will give you, the clothes on their back, if you need a place to stay, I'm sure, we would. It's just a welcoming city that just gets bad reputation from the rest of England, just because, we're independent. And I mean, just
strong
to go
characters.
back to, oh, very much so. I mean,
but in the best way.
We laugh at ourselves.
Yeah.
Make jokes about ourselves, so nobody else can. The only thing that I can't stand is the horrible chanting that's worked its way back in to the matches. I find it absolutely vile and disgusting. There's no place in football for that, and there's no place. If some Liverpool fan starts singing about Munich, you need to, tell them to stop. You need to hit them upside the head and be like,
this is not okay.
No, it's not. But, it's one of the best cities on this planet. The people are absolutely boss. Very welcoming. As you know, and it's just a great place to live, great place to grow up. It's
amazing.
And apart from this season, we had one of the best football teams of the last 5-6 years, and wanted to talk to you about this season, because when we beat Man City, right, in the charity field, I was like, we're challenging again.
Me too.
I really didn't think we needed to tweak the squad too much. I mean, I got asked at the beginning of the season as well to do the prediction. I don't do like a prediction like score wise. I was like, Liverpool are winning the league. Do we need any players in? And at that point, I went no, because everyone was healthy. I didn't know we were going to have this massive injury crisis. Looking back, hindsight, is always good to have. Yes, we should have brought in a midfielder, and it looked like we were with Tuchemene. But he chose Madrid. Hindsight again, we should have had a backup.
100%.
We didn't. 100%. And poor bastard Arthur Melo. It's not his fault. He was brought in. I'm so sick of people slagging him off. It's not his fault. It's not his fault he got injured. You know, he's worked his way back. You know,
he's done everything he could. He skipped his holidays to try to stay fit. He did everything he could.
But, you know, I couldn't have predicted how bad this season has gone for us.
Yeah.
You know, the good thing is we've won 6 on the bounce.
Yeah.
Klopp's tweaked the system, you know, a little bit, obviously letting Trent roam.
Yes.
Can we do that next season? I'm not sure because, you know, Kanote against the bigger clubs, against the cities, I don't think that can happen. But what was your, like, I mean, I'm sure you were just like me, the start of the season. I'm ready for Liverpool.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm ready for Liverpool to go again. And then everything went downhill. Yeah.
But I mean, to be fair, I actually did a prediction show with Jose. We did like a prediction recording that we were gonna put out end of the season, and I deleted it because mine was so off, and he's always showing off. He's so proud of it because he predicted everything that would happen this season. He actually did. And the big thing, like I was exactly like you, but it's true, the big thing, and this is learned from Sir Alex, and I think it's the only downfall of Klopp. It's his loyalty to players and the fact that, you know, given how much he's changed Liverpool, he could put more pressure on the owners. And I think he always wants to do this miracle job, which he's done. But the thing is, any great squad, especially with how competitive the Premier League is, you always need to bring in more competition. You need to bring in fresh blood, fresh legs. And I think what naturally happened this season is they were so burnt out from last season with us playing in every single competition till the end that, like, it's desire. I think one thing, like Jose as a former player, he said the number one thing, because I've asked him this whole season, like, what's going on? Like, how could we have such a big downfall from last season where we could have won the quadruple? And he's like, footballers are human beings. Every single one of those players in this squad has won every trophy possible. And therefore, like, think anybody who has an office job, if you're comfortable in your job, it's human behavior to settle down, to think that, you know, everything's good. And as footballers, like, they completed all their dreams. Think about Trent. He's 23, he was 20, 22, 23. He's won the whole lot at that age. And of course, he's going to be a little comfortable. He doesn't have competition at right back. But the reality is, with how competitive world football is now, Champions League, Premier League, you have to be on your toes all of the time. And I think that's our biggest issue. It's like, of course, Fabinho isn't the player that he's been this season. You can't, like, go from being that good to that poor. And he keeps saying, like, these key positions, we need to sign backup. And it's true, I agree, where people are like, sell Fabinho. I'm like, no, like, if we sold Fabinho this summer, we'd get 20 million pounds when he's worth much more. You bring in competition for him and he loses his place beginning of the season, he's going to be, like, working so hard to get back into the team. And that's the mentality we need, you know?
Well, I think a lot of people look at these players like robots. You know, they don't have feelings. They don't, they do. I think, you know, the issue was we played every game possible.
Yeah.
Very short preseason. We would never have probably gone to Asia. And then... Yeah,
that was crazy too.
We've had way too... This is another one I think, you know, Jose's touched on as well, is the amount of muscle injuries that we sustained this season is insane. And the amount of missed games players have had. And then you have a World Cup. So a lot played against us. You know, I'm not playing like, you know, boo-hoo. But you know, in hindsight, you know, when you're on top, you need to strengthen. And we did. And
you need to be brutal. Yeah, you need to be brutal in some ways. You know, like look,
and you know, that is one of his mistakes.
His only downfall.
Yeah. I mean, that's not bad. That's one is like caring, you know, players. I mean, you know, like players like Ox should have gone. Keita should have gone. But the problem was, they were injured.
Yeah, and you couldn't offload. Yeah, but you know, there's some like, and I did a video recently about this, and this is about our midfield. It's like we talk about Jude, we talk about these like star midfielders, too many. What I don't understand is what works so well for us was a genie type player. You don't need in this market to sign a 150 million pound signing, because our system, anyways, our midfielders aren't gonna be these type of players that go and score 20 goals a season. You know, and what I don't understand is even Thiago is a player I love and one of the most gifted footballers I've ever watched, you know, play for Liverpool. But then it's like you look at his injury record at Bayern, you
Yeah.
look at his injury record at Liverpool since he came in, and it's like to have a player like that in your squad, I'm not so sure that it makes any sense.
And you look at
Like
what he's on, the wages, 200.
200 pounds, 200,000 pounds a week.
And if he can't, I said it to me mate, if he can't play more than 20 games a
He
season,
can't. That's a guarantee.
you know, you get him off the wage bill, and you can get two players. You know,
Exactly.
I'm disappointed, just like every other Liverpool fan, about Bellingham. But
Yeah.
I think media played a lot into that. I mean, I don't think Liverpool or Klopp actually said they were going in for Bellingham.
No.
I never saw Klopp ever say it. Said he was a player that he'd be interested in, which any manager would be interested in Jude.
Exactly.
I just think, and I don't really think it's too much about the money. I think it's maybe Jude might have wanted Madrid all along.
The thing though about that is I still see reliable sources, reliable journalists saying that Jude actually really wanted to join Liverpool. And I'm not like, this is not just a biased thing. Like I can send you some of these sources where genuinely it really looks like, from everything I've seen, that Liverpool wanted him, that he wanted to come to Liverpool. And then the big thing that happened is the price tag with the World Cup, with Real Madrid wanting him, a lot of things in this past season really upped this price tag where now we're talking 130 million, you know, and these owners, we know the way they go about their business. They want like a clean net spend, you know, and so I just think it ended up making no sense anymore. But it's unfortunate because
one player is not going to help this team. You know, Bellingham. Imagine, all right, say we bought him,
yeah,
and then within a month he gets injured.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine like an ACL and he's out.
Yeah.
Then what?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
So I think we're going about it the right way. I like McAllister. He's a player. I would love Conceição as well. Let's take both of them.
Oh,
Let's just take all three of them.
No, you see Brighton. I was just speaking to my mate about it yesterday. You look at the Brighton performance yesterday, and it's mad to think how many of those players could play for top teams. And you look at how much they signed a lot of those players a year ago, and that's why it annoys me when I see everyone freaking out that we can't get these crazy players, because I don't think and I know we think as Liverpool we should be signing a Jude Bellingham like a finished article, but there's so many ways in the market to be clever, especially when you have a manager like Klopp who's gonna make these players so much better. You know, that's the thing I think everyone needs to remember. It's like we don't have like a manager, any kind of manager. Like we have someone who's a manager who has people behind him, because he's less of a tactics training type of guy. Pep Linders, these other guys around him know how to improve these players, and therefore, do we need to go and sign Caicedo, who's now 80 million when he was available for 4 million last summer? Like, it's crazy.
I think we should hire the Brighton scout.
Exactly. Yeah.
Who's getting all these players? But I mean, Liverpool used to be like that 4 or 5 seasons ago. I mean, as they say, Klopp makes players superstars. We won the league and Champions League without any, really big superstars. You could say Salah, was probably the one. But I mean, we got Robert from Hull for 7 million. Trent came up through the team. It's just
everything.
We've got to have a big summer. It's got to be right players that come in, and I think it's going to be a lot of Premier League players that we're going to get, because they already know the league. They've got to hit the ground running. We can't have a player like Nunes come in, doesn't really speak the language, has a hard time, just being at the club. I mean, I think Nunes will be a success. I think people need to give him time. He needs to learn, Scouse.
Yeah.
He just needs to learn.
But look at Diaz. He barely spoke. He came in and was thrown into the team in January. So didn't even have preseason like Nunes did. And you could arguably say outfield player. I know he was injured for so long, but he's been, for me, the best outfield player. Mo Salah, you have to respect. But like Diaz, think about like early in the season, he saved us on many occasions. He's now back into the team. And I think these games we've been winning on the trot, even if he's not scoring goals, his energy, like you can see the impact it has on everyone. And being at Anfield, like I was saying before, you see it when you're at these games that a moment can spark other moments. And Diaz, he's that type of player where he goes on this run. He has this mentality again of just like never giving up. And that, transpires in other players. And I love him so much. God.
He's brilliant.
So much.
I mean, when he was out all that time, we've missed him. It just same with Thiago as well. We've just missed players like that. But we're, like I said, 6 games on the bounce. 3. As this podcast will come out
on Monday.
So we've got three matches left.
Yeah.
You're in the team where we'll get top 4. I've said I think we've left it a bit too.
No, I definitely agree. But for me, it's more like watching tonight, watching Villa. I just like to just watch it with hope. Not that I think we're likely to get it, but more like and some Lazar who works on Liverpool Goals too. He was saying how like we win tonight, and then we get really close to Newcastle, who will then play Thursday. It's just like the closer we get, especially with Newcastle, who haven't finished in top 4 in God knows how long. Like just that pressure is also a really great thing, and even though it looks unlikely, we know in football crazy things happen.
Yeah,
we know.
As they say, hope in your heart.
Yeah.
So, well, Leo, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Yes,
I'm sorry it took so long since we've actually like got this
pleasure.
Well worth it. And I hope everybody follows Leo on Instagram and
go and subscribe to the Liverpool Connection, guys.
It's Liverpool Goals. He posts every day with some amazing pictures and stuff, and he's getting to Liverpool more and more. You're gonna have a black there soon, mate.
Yeah. No, but like I said, it's such a special place. Yeah.
But absolute pleasure, mate. And,
absolute pleasure. Thank you for having me on.
Please, everyone,
and keep up the amazing work.
Well, we're trying, mate. We got loads of stuff in the works, but please like and subscribe. Follow Leo. Follow anybody. Liverpool. Exactly. Supporter. We all need a little hug now and again. But until next time, take care of yourselves.